Welcome, everyone. I'm Stuart Hyslop, and this is another episode of, well, it was a name that was bestowed to me by someone that actually sent me a message, the One Thing Guy. And that's why I just called it the One Thing Guy podcast. Now, what I'm going to talk about today is something that happens to all businesses pretty much throughout their career, throughout the growth of the business. And that's what we refer to as a plateau. So let's put this into perspective. We start a business full of excitement, new ideas, all this ambition, and growth starts to happen. We get new clients. And then over time, we get to a certain point where the business just plateaus. And when it hits that plateau, we kind of sit back, and for many small businesses, they don't realize that they have plateaued. But when you hit that point, what do you do? But more importantly, a question that came to me from a client is, Stuart, I feel like my business has plateaued. What am I doing wrong? Am I failing? And the truth is, you're not actually failing. What you actually have done is you have exhausted every opportunity of that growth factor. All those ideas that you had that was really injecting growth into your business have all started to basically hit their limit. They've reached the ceiling. And what we need to do is we need to relook at them. Now, this becomes something that is very hard to identify. And the reason why it's hard is for many small businesses, you're in the trenches. You're doing the hard work every single day. And you're feeling, well, there is a level of success, but it seems to be that it's just that plateau. It's doing the same thing every single day and not having any form of growth. To know that you've hit a plateau is when you reflect, nothing's changed in your business. Everything's exactly the same. The people, the staff, the clients, all of that is the same. That's the first sign that a plateau has happened. And what we need to do is we need to make some changes, but not changes where you change the model of your business, changes to help you to break through that ceiling of achievement. Now, how do we do that? Well, the secret actually lies in how you start the business. You see, right in the beginning, there was that lead domino, that one little activity that you knocked down, and it started to create almost the sequential flow of success until it hits that certain point. Well, the secret, as I said, lies in the history of your business. What it really needs is to start going back and identifying that lead domino again. It's leveraging something new on the plateau where you're at right now, triggering that next domino that will take you through that next growth phase. And that's the exciting part of a business, is having that vision, identifying the plateau and going, hey, let's do this again. But the big thing is, how do we do all of this? So I've actually sat down through conversations with a variety of clients and identified these 3 little tips that truly will help you in your particular business. 1, to help you to identify if you're in a plateau, but 2, it's the methods of going through it and breaking through that ceiling of achievement. So the first tip that I want to share with you is actually using metrics. It's using metrics to identify your plateau. So too often, we don't know we're in a plateau. As I've said, we just carry on with our business. But if we had metrics, and this is one of the reasons why we employ admin people, bookkeepers, accountants, because yes, they're holding the numbers, but they've got the metrics that we can actually look towards. And through these metrics, we can start to identify certain patterns. Now, you might be saying, well, what metrics could I be tracking? Well, one of the biggest and easiest is your client base, your database. You can look at your database and go, is my database growing? In other words, I'm adding more to it. Is it staying the same? Or is it getting smaller? We don't want it to get smaller. We want to actually identify. So that's the first metric that you could actually identify is your database. The second metric is anything that's related to productivity. So productivity are activities. If you're in a service industry and you charge by the hour, well, how many hours did we charge? Is it possible for us to do more hours? Because yes, it is. When you start growing a team, you can actually start doubling your hours with the actual team. Other productivity is appointments. If you're going out on appointments, other productivity could be products that you're actually selling and having a look at those particular numbers. Metrics are the answers. They are the keys to unlocking where you are in your particular business. And it's something that we don't do from day one. It's something that we should do from day one, is measure our metrics on a weekly and monthly basis, because it will give us the trends of, are we growing, plateauing, or going backwards? So that's the first tip, is setting up these metrics. Now, you can take this particular tip and actually backdate it. You can actually go back 6, 12 months, and you can actually pull all that data, putting it into a spreadsheet, whatever you want, to actually have a look at it. And you're going to be pleasantly surprised or shocked at, whoa, I can't believe this is what's happening in my business. So that's the first tip, using metrics to really identify those real plateaus. And it will also highlight areas that you can actually improve on. The second one is, well, when you started your business, there were certain strategies, there were certain actions that you did right in the beginning, and you're still doing it today. And the big question that I have when I work with clients is, why are you still doing that? And many times they say, well, I've always done it. Now, when we start doing strategies, tasks, activities that actually does not result in growth, what it actually does is it starts stealing our time. And that time is so precious because it could be used to helping us to grow. So we need to have a look at all of those strategic routines that we've been doing over the years and over the months that no longer serve you. They no longer help you to grow. In fact, they're actually stealing the time and preventing you from growing. Now, you can look at these particular strategies and these particular actions and go, is it something that I could outsource to somebody else? I can delegate it to somebody else. Somebody else can do it, and I can then get more time back. Or is it something that, well, I don't know, I don't even need to do it anymore. I can delete it altogether. So you need to have a look at your activities that you're doing in the day and really identifying what are the activities and strategies that no longer serves you. I've sat down with a client who's been doing the same activities for nearly 10 years. And through the conversation, I asked him the question, why are you still doing this? He could not answer it. And he basically looked at me and I could see what he wanted to say, but I've always done it. It's just what makes me feel like I'm busy. And that's the problem. We don't want to feel busy. We want to be productive. So we removed it. We got him to stop doing it. And as soon as he stopped doing that, suddenly we noticed a change. He had more time in his business. So what you can do is look at these particular tasks and actions. And how do we remove or possibly even replace? Maybe add something new into it. So that's the second tip. It's something that we're all guilty of, is doing those activities because they feel warm and fuzzy. Well, let's push them to one side and let's focus on what's productive to help us moving forward. The third one is one that I don't push that often. And the reason for it is, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you're pushing yourself to that limit, but you're still hitting the plateau. This particular tip is one that at times can be extremely beneficial for you because it can help you to break through to that next level where you can actually employ people. So what is this third tip? The third tip is increasing intensity or adding some form of variability to it. So what do I mean by that? So This could be something where you have a particular project that you normally completed in 30 days. Well, increasing the intensity is seeing, how do I complete that 30-day project in 21 days? How do I level it up? How do I add more intensity so that I can complete it in a shorter manner of time? The other is adding variability. Maybe I'm doing it one way and I could add a second channel, do it in a different manner. Now, when we do something in a different manner, looking for a different channel, we can go down rabbit holes. And going down these rabbit holes, well, it's not what we're wanting to do because that's the wrong activity. So the reason why the increasing intensity and adding the variability is the last resort that I normally share with the clients is, well, adding intensity could lead to burnout. It could lead to errors. So we've got to do it extremely carefully. Adding variability could take you off that focused path. So it's so important when you are working in this particular environment of either adding some form of intensity or adding a variability, that you're working with a coach. So if you need assistance with that, you're more than welcome to reach out to me to give you some guidance. You can jump onto my website at stuarthyslop.com, and at the top right-hand corner, you'll see that little book a free clarity call with me. And I can help you to identify, is it something, well, is it that you need to increase the intensity or maybe have a look at some form of variability in it? One thing that also comes through when we do some variability, changing the channel, it can add a level of excitement, a level of novelty to it. And this is an area why it's so important to have a coach that can guide you and just make sure he or she keeps you on track. When you start something new, it takes you back to when you started your business. You have that high level of excitement, and that is what really kicks everything off to gear. In fact, working with a number of clients, it is the third option, the adding a variability that makes the biggest change in the business. We identify that lead domino and we create a new sequence of dominoes, new sequence of success that takes us and breaks us right through that ceiling of actual achievement. And that plateau, well, it actually starts to grow until you get it again. This is business practice. That's why it's not just let me choose one or two of these particular tips. You've got to start looking at them as a system to identify where are you in your business. Have I hit that plateau? What can I do to change? So let's give you a quick recap on these 3 tips or this system that's going to help you. The first one is using the metrics, looking at the numbers, having a look at those trends, having a look at the patterns. There's no emotion connected to it. Having a look to see where your business is. And that's going to give you that snapshot of, wait, we're growing, or, ooh, we've plateaued, or, oh no, we're going down. It's so important to be doing that. The second is breaking those strategic routines that no longer serves you. It's so important that you need to grow your business. And sometimes in growth, we've got to let go of certain activities, passing it to somebody else or deleting it altogether. And then finally, it's the increasing of the intensity. Can we do this particular activity quicker? Could we do more activities in the hour, over the hour? And having a look at a variability, a new way, maybe it's a novel approach, something that nobody's ever done before. When we take this system and we implement it into our business, and I truly hope that you do implement it into your business, you're going to start to see how everything changes in your business. Being more aware, my database is not growing. What do I need to do? My clients, they're not buying as much from me. What do I need to do? All of these will give you that change that you need, that highlighted alarm bell that you can actually implement into your business. So The big one, and the question, where in your business do you feel stuck or maybe stalled or frustrated despite continued effort? And if you need help answering that question, just jump onto my website, stuarthyslop.com. And at the top right, book that free clarity call. It's a no obligation. It's not something where I'm going to push a sales pitch down your throat. Yes, I might say, hey, do you want some help thereafter? But it's 100% free. It is my way to help the small, the medium, and the large businesses get through these little abnormalities that sometimes just hinders us for growth in our business. So today was all about breaking through that plateau, that business plateau that we dread. It's not a great place to be in, and sometimes we don't even know that we're in there. So make sure that you follow the system, using those metrics, really breaking through those routines of things that no longer serve you, and possibly increasing that intensity. You put that as a system together, you will see your business will continue to grow. And the beauty about this, if you're running a team or running a large organization with branches, doesn't matter where they are, you can implement this exact same system throughout. And you will see certain areas, whether it's one of your staff that's hit a plateau, maybe it's even an office, a branch that's hit a plateau. And through this, you can actually have guided conversations, guided questions that will help you to take your entire business to that next level, which is so, so important. Now, I love to end these particular sessions with a quote, and I have one that I think is going to be pretty cool related to what we're talking about. Success is about finding the right domino and pushing it over. Success is about finding the right domino and pushing it over. Let me be the one to help you to find that domino if you feel a little bit confused or lost, but make sure that you can find it so that you can have that continual growth. So before you go, look at your business. See if you need to schedule a time to really do an audit to identify, have you hit that plateau or not? Now, just remember, learning, it creates awareness, but it's the actions that create results. Until next time, I look forward to seeing you.